Hello, my dears, and welcome. Today we're talking about an interesting topic, which is how do we balance our spirituality, our religion, our manifestation or intention setting, our astrology, our woo, when no one's really right and no one's really wrong, and we speak from I statements, and we're really working towards our most authentic version of ourselves. I think of balance, I think of the scales, I think of Libra, and, the scales don't just like hit, we're like, okay, we're balanced, and then just chill out there. It's that constant ebb and flow. So one day you might feel a lot more spiritual. One day you might feel a lot more religious. One day, maybe when it's closer to the new moon and the full moon, you're doing a little bit of that woo, that astrology, and coming back to center each day. I really want to offer a little bit of validation for you. That's my intention as to what might be coming up for you in your life. I know a lot of people in my life, a lot of clients, a lot of friends have gone through, maybe they come from a very religious background and they started pulling tarot cards and now they're like, you're the devil, I can't believe that. Or you've seen a lot of that pendulum swing of people that were, very, very left have gone very, very right, or people that were very, very woo have gone very, very religious. And there's extremes all around. There's you're this if you're doing it that way, or you can't be religious and spiritual, you can't be this and that, you can't be this and that. And so I love that kind of parlays a little bit over to my leadership hat, which is you can't be this niche and this niche. You can't be this and this. You can't be this. You got to niche down. You got to do this. You got to do this. Whereas, if Jun taught us anything, it's you don't have to niche down in any capacity. You being that full expression of yourself finds and connects you to vibrationally the right people that are interested in maybe a few of those different things on that cafeteria line that you're interested in. So no astrology. I'm going to offer some tools at the end as to what could be helpful for you. But really, we're just going to have a chit chat, have some coffee and tea. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Sarah. I'm a channeler and an astrologer. And we speak in lenses around here, because I wear these big old glasses. And at my Multidimensional Caffè, it's really just you and I having coffee and tea, transcendent time and space. And we're just talking about the awakening and how to be the most authentic version of ourselves. Not really like the best and the brightest, because some days just like eating a bowl of popcorn is the best version of yourself and crying it out to God, to spirit, to source, to whatever you labeled everything that is, to Yeshua, to Joshua, to Jesus, whomever you talk to. So please go grab a coffee or tea. If you want to grab your journal, you are more than welcome to, but I don't really have anything to talk about. Go grab a coffee or tea, pause the video, and let's talk about balance. This also could be balancing, a positive lens and a negative lens. We live in a polarity-based reality, as one of my guides so effortlessly, spouts at me for a very long time. And so when I'm talking to you, my guides show me pictures and images over here. Usually got like a galactic screen over here, past life screen over here, a lot of different tabs open, if you will. And, as a channeler, as someone who does astrology work, but came from a religious background and really loves talking to Yeshua, I call him Joshua, sometimes Jesus, and really connects to that, who sometimes likes listening and, listening to sermons and reading scripture. It can be a little bit of like, if they really knew me, would they allow me in the building? And we speak from I statements, so I'll share a few personal moments that really resonated with me. Which is, I was praying the other day, I was walking to my car and I was talking to God, and I use the term God brazenly. So please insert spirit, source, whatever word you use, universe, whatever word you use. So that's what I mean when I say God. And I just say, God, I love talking to you. I love reading, scripture sometimes. I love listening to sermons sometimes. But I channel. I read astrology, and there are passages in your book that say, like, not really the best light. And God just said, do you not talk to my son? Do you not talk to Jesus every day? Do you not talk to your guide, Yeshua, every day? I said, I do. Do you not, pray and meditate every day? Do you not do what's best for you to be the most aligned version of yourself? Do you not lead with love? Do you not, ask how you can be of service every day? Do you not give? Do you not offer what you can to this world? Do you really speak from I statements? Do you do it that way? I do. I really do. Like, what's the problem? So, okay. So I was comparing myself to someone else. I was comparing myself to the way that others pray. I was comparing myself to the way that others do things. I've also noticed sometimes that I really want to, there's a few different things I want to say, so I want to make sure I put it in order. Just listening. We'll do that after. And I've spoken about this recently, where there have been times that I'm, sitting down with ChatGPT to talk about, what does my future self do? What does she do? Tell me more about what she does. Where going and living that life and going out and going experiencing the world and being that version of myself is probably going to be the closest way to get there. Those reps and sets that I keep talking about, where if you see your future self doing something, do it every day and stinkeroo at it, because you have to stinkeroo at something before you get there. So I find that, that's kind of like the religious bucket. Then I find myself sometimes going into, I'm going to read astrology, I'm going to, ask the cards, I'm just going to really look into it and really deep dive into it. And granted, study for what I do is a complete other compartment from what I'm talking about. I'm reading my charts, being well, what does this sextile mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? That means this, and that means this, and that means this. Where instead of looking at, okay, it's a new moon coming up, Sarah. It's an eclipse portal that you're in. Maybe the confusion that you're experiencing is normal. Maybe you are doing enough. Maybe if you're tired, rest. Maybe, listen to the projector side of your energy and know that you can't do things like a manifestor or a man-gen. Know that you're okay to rest and nap, and play is integral, and being in the woods is integral to you listening. And maybe you're not allowing God to speak to you sometimes because you're constantly learning and trying to figure it out. Maybe you could sync from your head to your heart. Maybe you could do some breathing exercises. Maybe you could, buy a new Dr. Joe and do that. Maybe you can do these things. So I have a whole video on Stay the Course, where we can get stuck in our awakening. It's in the toolbox, or it's in one of my public playlists. So definitely go check out those public playlists. There's a video that I want to reference, which is relationships are drastically changing. And that's something that has really been coming up for a lot of people. So I want to parlay over to that right now. I don't want this to be a super duper long video. I know it's me as I say that. And so what I find is that, maybe you were a very one thing couple. Whether it's we both had the same political party, we both were very religious, we both were very spiritual, and now I haven't really swung to the opposite side of the pendulum, but I'm kind of really experiencing some neutrality of saying, maybe if we hate another group of people, I don't want to feel hate in my heart. Maybe everybody on this planet is worthy of love and abundance and family and health and a roof over the head and clean water and electricity. Maybe everyone on the planet, and not based on their belief systems or the way that they live their life. Maybe it's so okay that people pray differently than me. People, express their spirituality, express their whole body and being in a different way. Maybe that's okay. And that's kind of putting a wedge between families right now, relationships. I want to incorporate the growth mindset into this as well, because not everybody that comes to my channel talks astrology, speaks this language. So it's kind of like when you've been in an environment where everybody is complaining and everybody is, woe is me, or everybody is drinking, or everybody's doing this. And then you stop doing that thing and you're like, yeah, I had a great workout today, I'm super sore. Or yeah, I kind of want to start my own business and, make some money on my phone, start that side hustle. And It's many, 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 successful entrepreneurs speak to the fact that people, how does it, nobody who's doing better than you is ever going to judge you. Like, you're never going to get like a nasty comment from someone who's doing better than you, because there's an abundance for everyone. So rising together is a beautiful thing. There's no competition. You know what I mean? But it's like when you're in your Rocky montage, people are like, oh, get him, Tiger, you can do it. And then when you actually start to hit the ground running and like you've been reps and setting and you've been doing it, and you start to get that following and you start to be making money and you start to do that, people are like, oh, like I think Alex Hormozy speaks of this a lot. He's like, oh, big guy, oh, big boss coming in and running things. And he's like, you used to root me on when I was sleeping on the floor of the gym. And now that I'm doing well, you're recognizing that you were a part of the conversation when I wasn't doing well. And now you're recognizing that I'm a mirror for what you didn't do. So I find that, again, this is my Caffè. We speak from I statements around here. I have many people in my life that have very different opinions and perspectives than I do. Many different belief systems, many different, if like maybe they identify with a political party, maybe they believe certain things. And we get along famously, beautifully. These are some of those tools that I was talking about at the beginning that you can really recognize. That if, someone many seasons in life ago, and people, they know I talk to Yeshua. I love Yeshua. Joshua's my pal. And so if you're sending me videos about how that religion is wrong or mocking it, or, mock when I go to church, that's not an aligned, connection. If you just say, amazing, thank you for sharing. I don't believe in that. I believe in this and I believe in this. Share your story, but don't tell me that mine is wrong nor mock it. That's inappropriate in my perspective, in my book, and in my value systems. I don't really like that. That's not really for me. And so that just shows me, thank you so much for showing me who you are. That's not for me. That gave me the opportunity to kind of continue down the road of life and allow you to find someone to fill the space that was Sarah before. This is also, and it really does boil down to integrity. This is just when it comes to the woo, when it comes to reading charts. And I've mentioned this numerous times. I mentioned this in client sessions, that I don't read the chart of someone who has not given me their information and said, I actively want you to read my chart. Every year I do a birth chart for the United States because I am a member of the United States, and that's part of my chart too, so I can understand that. But I'm never going to read your boyfriend's chart. I'm never going to read your girlfriend's chart. I'm never going to read your ex's chart. If you're giving a chart as a gift, you've told the person, I am getting your birth information. Sarah's going to read your chart. I'm going to give that to you as a gift. They know ahead of time. They're aware ahead of time. And that is different from a lot of other astrologers or people that do, more woo-woo. I don't do that. It doesn't feel good to me. That goes against my integrity. That's totally fine. My way is not the best way or the worst way. It's my way. Your way isn't the best way or the worst way or any way. So that, says to me that that's my level of woo that I'll do. That's literally your soul contract, your soul thing is your birth chart. So I'm not going to read for someone that didn't give me that. So that's like finding my balance of the woo, because I could go onto like celebrities charts and be like, oh, what's happening here? What's happening here? What's happening? And there's been a season that I did that. I did a whole chart reading for Tucker Carlson once, and I was like, you're going to be speaking to aliens one day, and was very fascinated by it. I would love, I'll put this out there. I want to be able to read certain content creators' charts. I want to read Joe Rogan's chart. I want to read Theo Vaughn's chart. I would love to read Cody Sanchez's, Lewis House, all of these charts. I would love to. But until they give me permission to do that, that's not my business. That's not my business. They didn't ask for my work. They didn't ask for my view. So that's not my business. Again, another leadership hat is, what people say about you behind your back is none of your business, because that version of you doesn't even exist. So to wrap it back around to the relationships aspect of things, I find that a lot of people I'll share a personal tale. When I first started doing this work first started reading tarot cards. It was in COVID time. And I've had tarot cards since I was a little girl, but when I started to like do this professionally and really like step into this realm, it was in COVID time. And I was living with a roommate at the time. And I said, you know, my biggest fear during that time was getting laughed at. I had come from corporate. I literally was a corporate person in the beginning of 2020. And then I started reading tarot cards and doing art and like fully channeling online. So like I, at 33 years old, shifted my entire life. It was 1533. I think of 333 when I said that, but it was 1533 when I said that. So in my Jesus year, I literally shattered the paradigm of what everyone thought I was and did, and stepped into a very spiritual space, a very woo space. And I said, you know, my biggest fear is getting laughed at. Like, I'm about to show people how woo I am. And so one day, I woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to pull cards in my room. I'm going to go into the living room. I'm going to sit at the eagle table. It's my table. I'm going to go sit at it. I'm going to put my candles on, do my thing, like do what I do naturally now. And my roommate at the time, we're no longer in each other's lives, like parted gracefully and lovely, no judgment. She literally looked at me, pointed, and laughed. The first person to see me in my full expression of self pointed at me and laughed. And so again, these can be messages of, oh, maybe this isn't aligned. So when it comes to relationships and when it comes to you being your full expression of yourself, it's okay to have different belief systems. It's okay to have, again, this is all a cafeteria line. I talk about this all the time. Every bit of spirituality, religion, woo, personal growth, all of it. Just picture it as a buffet, as a continental breakfast. You take what resonates with you and don't take what doesn't resonate with you. But try your ever-loving best not to get stuck in, I can't believe they put this on the cafeteria line. This is wrong. This is absolutely, that's a you problem. That's a you problem. So lead with love, lead with grace. But if you find yourself in relationships, personal, professional, friends, that when you really step into the full expression of yourself, that will ebb and flow, and that doesn't feel aligned, that's just a really beautiful moment to say, thank you. I'm so grateful. We're not aligned. Let's start to take action steps away from each other. But this is important. I feel as though this breakaway of rigidity is showing the cracks in a relationship, that I feel like this is the catalyst that you know, stepping into, maybe I want to read my chart. Maybe I want to get my tarot cards read. Maybe I love the book and I don't discredit it, but I want to incorporate a little bit of some angel cards, you know, some angel oracle cards. And I have mine right here. I'm going to pull today. I know. When I first started working with new angel guides, I got that deck, and I definitely want to get another one soon. And so it's okay for you to, I welcome you to become the truest version of yourself, to step into the most authentic version of yourself, but know that that will ebb and flow. Know that that will ebb and flow. So what I would love for us to do now, because we're going to wrap this whole thing up with a bow, and finding balance each day. Have something that you do every day. Every day I meditate. Every day I pray. Every day for the most part, I read the planets. I know where they are. Sometimes on Sundays I don't. Honestly, sometimes I don't. I just know where they are. I know what house they're in, and I know what planets are making big aspects to planets. Like, I'll show you. You might not be able to read it, but this is like pretty much every day I do something along those lines. And then I say, okay, I know what's coming up. I know what could activate me. I know, all that. But this is later. So the first thing I do is meditate, and I ground and I center and I check in with myself and I see what's coming up for me. We talk about this a lot. A lot of my clients, they do scales. Like I'm feeling 80% myself. I'm feeling 100% myself. I'm having I'm experiencing anxiety. So maybe I'm at 50, 40% self. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is. You have that check-in. And then I've been incorporating prayer, conversation with God, with my higher self, with my spirit team, with everybody. Really incorporating that. Check the planets. That's it. New moons and full moons. Obviously, you know what I do. You know what I do. Everyone knows, well, actually, if you're new here, Sundays are pretty much the only day that I'm in like full do not disturb. I try not to answer any emails. I try not to I will schedule a post of something. I try not to do any work, and I just let myself kind of plop. Sundays are a special day for me. I, grew up in a not fully religious household, but I grew up Catholic. I'm confirmed. And that day is very, very special to me. I feel as though I spend it with God, and I, speak openly to God, and I spend that day with God. It's a very important day for me. And sometimes I've listened to, the Transformation Church, Pastor Mike Todd. Sometimes I've listened to his sermons. Sometimes I've read scripture. Sometimes I am covered in paint rolling around on a canvas, and that's how I channel, and that's how I'm with God. Pretty different. But I listen to myself. I listen to my energy, and I kind of say okay, what's coming up for me? What am I experiencing? What's the tool to work with that and implement it, and then go implement it? The action step is one of the most important ones. Whereas we can say, okay, a new moon is coming up. I'm not going to spend the entire day reading my chart when I can say, okay, this is where the new moon is. These are the aspects. Do some journaling, spend that time, and then go out and experience the world. If I'm feeling exhausted, if my anxiety is overloaded, if I feel less than, if I'm at anywhere really around 50% Sarah, I'm maybe cancel some things and not do that and just rest and watch some movies and watch Ancient Aliens and just enjoy yourself and know that you're getting a download. A client and person that I communicate with more regularly, she had called it. She's you needing to rest all this time. It's when you go through those quantum leaps and when you go through those paradigm shifts, you got to rest so much more because your body's being able to hold all that energy, being able to hold all these more bigger things. And it's going from splicing time and space in half and going to a different paradigm. So maybe you're going to be exhausted. Maybe rest is actually a superpower. It's funny when I asked God today, I was how can I become the vessel to hold this? How can I, be better? How can I do this? Show me my shadow, show me my things. And God showed me a flash of me just eating popcorn in bed, watching Ancient Aliens. And he was I need more of that. I was excuse me, God? You're telling me that you want me to relax more? He's yeah, and be in your feminine. He's because right now you hate yourself when you do that. You feel you need to be doing more. And you feel you should be recording a video and that you're not doing it right. So I need you to actually reps and sets relaxation and learn how to do that. I was aghast. That's my shadow? He's yeah, you don't have to play me. You can actually be human and know that I will give your video to the right person at the right time, and all the people that are meant to work with you will effortlessly find you. So sometimes finding that balance means being with yourself. If there is a problem or see where you're at each morning. Sometimes I feel channeling all day long. Sometimes I just want to make art all day long. Sometimes I want to look at what's coming up for you in your life, identify the tool that's in your toolbox and say, okay, this is the tool to help me with this problem, and then utilize that tool and try your best. Let the pendulum swing. Try your best to let the scales shift every day. and try your best to look at, you're not doing it wrong. You're evolving. You're not making a mistake. You're finding what works best for you today. And that's going to be different tomorrow. When it comes to our awakening, and I'll leave you with this, we can't soapbox our awakening. Say, I'm this version of me today. I'm not afraid anymore. Tomorrow you're going to be different. Tomorrow you're going to educate yourself. You're going to learn something new, and you're going to find out new information and be like, I shunned that, and now I want to do it. I said I wasn't going to do that, and now I want to do it. Because that's a tool. Yeah. What is it, like, don't get mad at the hammer for being a hammer. Get mad at the person that's like attacking people with it. You know, don't get mad at the tool. Just use it for the right thing. You know, just like my parable on anger. Anger is a powerful tool that we have in our toolbox. It's a machete that you don't need to cut vegetables with on a regular basis. So I think that's it. Again, some tools that could be helpful, some validation as to how this might be coming up for you, some understanding that if this is wedging you and a person in your life into different directions, you can talk about it if that's safe to do, but this might just be the catalyst to say, we're meant to walk towards our highest timeline, but it's kind of veering away from each other. So thanks for being here. Let me know if this resonates. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. I try my best to do a blend of all different things, and I haven't done one of these types of videos in a little bit. This has just been coming up a bunch. Please reach out directly if you would like to book a free consultation to see how I can best be of service to you. The flow of the consultations, because I like to give away as much as I possibly can to you. So I'm really reworking on how I want to flow each consultation, because 15 minutes, we got to like pack it in, and it usually goes over. But the flow part that's really coming to me today, what brought you to my work? What bridge are you standing in front of? Where are you and where do you want to be? I can talk about the offerings that I have that could be helpful for you. And then the fourth part is you asking any questions about that service, product, session. What does that look like? What does that sound like? What is that like? I want you to feel really good about investing in yourself. And so that will be your stage to ask any questions. So that's what I'm kind of trying to like put together for all of you. And please, as always, just reach out directly, send me an email, and we can put something on the books. I love you. Balance is key right now. And starting with you, starting within, best place to start. Love you.